everybody, it's Kelsee Briana J here with a review on the new Anastasia Beverly Hills x Alyssa Edwards collaboration, and I'm super excited to finally be doing this video for you all. I feel like I've known about these products forever, but I am finally able to share my thoughts with you all as well as show you all how I created this look. So if you all don't know who Alyssa Edwards is a star on RuPaul's Drag Race, and if you all have never seen that show, what rock have you been living under? RuPaul is 100% iconic, and he spawned so many different stars from that show, and Alyssa Edwards has a standout personality. Now, I will admit that I have not seen the season with Alyssa Edwards, but I have seen snippets of Miss Alyssa Edwards online, and she has a dynamic personality. So to match that personality, you already know you have to have a larger than life palette and a palette that's full of color. So here's the packaging. I think that the packaging is gorgeous. Like, I think this is super cute. It says Alyssa Edwards, Anastasia Beverly Hills in the gold font. Love it. I think that the packaging is so on trend and it's super bold. It makes you stop and want to look at it. And then on the back it says, I don't get cute, I get drop dead gorgeous. And now you can too. My dream for this palette was to create a color story that will give you life. One that will bring out the inner beast in everyone. And that is a quote by Alyssa Edwards. Here's the actual palette. The palette looks exactly the same as the packaging. And this palette retails for $45. This palette has the same design as Anastasia's other palette. So you open up the palette and it is a mirror, and then you fold it back and bam, here is the color story for this palette. As you all can see, there are 14 colors in this palette. There's a range from neutrals to bold colors, but honey, as you all can see, this is mostly bold colors. We have that bold yellow, we have the blues, we have purples in here, which is my favorite. So in addition to the bold colors, there's also the neutral colors. So you're able to do a complete eye look without having to reach outside of this palette. And there's a mix of matte eyeshadows as well as shimmery eyeshadows, even though there's only 3 shimmery eyeshadows and the rest of them are the mattes. Also, this palette comes with a brush that immediately drops on the floor and rolls. Every time I get a new Anastasia palette, I never keep the brush in there. It always falls and I never replace it. But of course, this palette is limited edition, as most collaborations are. But Anastasia is really good with keeping things in stock for a decent amount of time. Plus, this palette is already available online on Anastasia's website, plus all of the other retailers that sell Anastasia Beverly Hills' products. So I will have them linked down below. And if you want to support my channel, you can go ahead and do a little clickety click and shop through those links if you plan on picking up any of the items that I show in this video. So the next item that I picked up from this launch was this. Bam! Do you see? Like, what? This fan is something serious. This fan is oh my gosh. It's the most extra fan that I think I've ever owned, and I love it. So this fan is $15 and it says Beast on it. So it says fan the flames in full fab form with this limited edition hand fan from the Anastasia Beverly Hills x Alyssa Edwards collection. And the last thing that was launched on Anastasia's website is a new eye primer. Now, I'm not sure if this is in collaboration with Alyssa Edwards, but this primer was launched in conjunction with the Alyssa Edwards collection, so I think that it's meant to accompany, not necessarily be a part of. So they say that this is a water resistant eye primer, and this is a thicker eye primer. Right now they only have one shade, but I definitely can see them expanding to have a variety of shades just because this one is pretty light. But this primer is used to blank out your eyelid space so you can get a maximum color payoff. So you can use this primer with both matte and shimmer eyeshadows. So that's everything that I picked up from this launch. I want to go ahead and jump into the swatches of the palette. Following the swatches of the palette, let's go ahead and do this eye look, and then stay tuned until the end and I will tell you all my final thoughts on all of these items. So I hope that you all enjoy. I am first going to go in with some of the eye primer. Be sure to put the cap back on the eye primer when you're done with it, otherwise it will spew out. And I'm just going to blend this out with my Stilazzi brush. Go ahead and blend this out as fast as you can. And I'm not taking this all the way up underneath my brow just because it is white. I am just going to blend it on the edge of where my concealer was brought down to. And really do your best to apply the eye primer evenly across the eyelid. It really is going to make a difference in the application. So I'm going to take the color The Supreme in a MAC 217. And I am going to take this in my crease and bring it up. So it'll be my transition and my crease color. And make sure that your eye primer is smooth when you're doing this step. Same brush, and I'm going to pick up Unicorn Tried. And with this color, I am going to take it directly in the crease. And we are just building color. I am not going to take this up. What I want to do is just make sure that the next colors that we apply on the lid are going to blend seamlessly. So this is going to help us transition into that. When I first was dusting it on, I thought it was going to be lighter, but if you pack this color on and just go like this, it will go there. So you all already know I have to use this color. This is Believe. Okay, this is the moment. Oh yes, ma'am, Pam, Sam. Yes, I went in with a lot of pigment on the brush. This color is a little bit more powdery, but it's vivid, it layers, and it's giving me the intensity that I want on my outer corner. Love it. So just bring that up towards the crease and then use the tip of the brush with no additional products after you've packed the product on to blend it out. Now I need a flat shader brush. This is a MAC 242. Make sure you're tapping off your brushes because these eyeshadows are extremely pigmented. Let's pat this right next to that color on the lid and fuse it with the purple. Now, try not to take it too far over on the purple. We want it to be blended, but we don't want to cover up the purple. And you may have to go back and forth over these two colors, the line of it a few times, just to make sure that there's not a line of demarcation. But try to keep it as neat as possible, and then pack this pink color on until it's completely opaque, and then leave a little bit of space on the inner corner. I'm going to take a detailer brush in the color Headliner, and very carefully I am going to apply this on the inner corner. I'm going to try to keep this as white as possible, which is going to be hard since I have pink and purple on my lid. So I'm just going to carefully pat it, but pack on as much as you can first, because once you start blending, you're going to compromise the purity of the color with the brush. So like I said, on the lower inner corner, I'm going to pop this white on. Now go in and blend it. So I'm not going to go where the color is, I'm just going to go on the edge of it. So truthful moment, that white on the inner corner absolutely did not work out. What I ended up doing was washing my entire face and redoing it up until this point because I want to switch that color. What I have noticed so far is that my eye in the crease area keeps separating and it looks very patchy, and I have packed this color on and packed it on, and every single time it still does this. So I'm just going to pack this purple on again, and I'm going to go back with that purple color in the crease again. But I promise you, it keeps doing this. It'll look okay for a few, but then it kind of fades away. So that's as good as I'm going to get it, but I do want it to at least look decent for the entirety of this video. That white on the inner corner is an absolute no-go because that color is a little bit too dry, and the way that it's settled, it wouldn't let me blend it, and it looked patchy. So I am going to switch strategies. I'm going to take a Royal and Langnickel BLM 485 and the color Inspire, which is this shimmery color. And hopefully this shimmery color blends well, but I am just going to lightly just pop that on the inner corner. I don't even really want to attempt to try to blend it too heavily with the rest of the colors just because I can't start over for a third time. And I'm going to go ahead and pop this color on the lower inner corner. Same brush, and I'm going to take the color DDG. And just to be on the safe side, I'm going to take this color all the way across and connect it to the top. So that color didn't give me a lot of color payoff. So now I'm going to take it on the brush and spray it with the Dewy Set Mist. And I am going to now press this on the lower lash line until it's opaque. And take as much time as you need. Alright guys, so this is what I was able to come up with. So you all can see it's still kind of patchy on the lid. I ended up being able to work with the shimmers a little bit better, but still it's not as smooth as I like. I am going to go ahead and add liner and lashes, and then I'll be right back to show you all what everything looks like all together. So here's the finished eye look. So for the finishing touches, you know I have to incorporate that fan. You know that. So I'm gonna shake up my dewy set, and I'm gonna twist my earring out of the way and spray my face, because there shall be no hydration, no droplets to hit my eyeballs, because it will not mess up my makeup again. No, baby. I'm here for this fan. So let me just start off by saying that if you are a fan in any capacity of Alyssa Edwards, of Anastasia Beverly Hills, of the color pink, of fans, then baby, you need this fan. Do you see how big this fan is? This fan is huge. It is definitely gonna make a statement, and I love it. It feels so nice. I love how extra and dramatic it is. This is definitely my favorite part from the launch, the fan. I also really like this eye primer. It's thick, but I'm not going to say that it's crease resistant without the eyeshadow. So you know how sometimes when you have an eye primer, it feels kind of dry on the lids? This one does not dry down, but yet it doesn't crease once you have your eyeshadows on top. And I like that it's so white, but yet it doesn't look stark on my complexion. I feel like it blends out really nicely, and it allows you to have a nice blank canvas for your eyeshadows. I actually have been using it all week, and I find that it really makes my eyeshadows stand out more and be a little bit more vivid. So I really like this formulation. It's easy to work with. I like the effect that it gives my eyeshadows. So now that brings me to the last thing that I picked up from this launch, which is the actual palette. I am going to say that I am not in love with this palette like I thought I was going to be, because I really love this color story. I think that it's very fun, very bold. I feel like the color story flows together cohesively. You have your neutrals, you have your pops of color, you have your blacks, you have everything you need to do a colorful eye look successfully, except for the fact that I do not care for the formulation of the eyeshadows in this palette, and that's because I felt like they were just too powdery, and I am no stranger to Anastasia's eyeshadow formula, and I just feel like the formulation in this palette is just a bit drier. It was hard for me to get a good blend going. Now, if you pack the color on, you're going to get a different effect. I feel like if you want this palette, then you can definitely make it work. I made my look work. I feel like it's pretty in the end. But as you guys saw, I had to do it twice, and that's because one wrong move and it will take you down. I feel like these eyeshadows are too hard to blend. When you blend it, it gets patchy. You have to pack it and then blend it, but then even when you do that, you have to blend so slowly as to not kick up the eyeshadow on the lid. And I use this primer, and I've used this primer with other eyeshadow palettes, and it gripped those eyeshadows successfully. Even with using that sticky primer, I feel like this eyeshadow palette had a hard time gripping, and as a result of that, it made my eyeshadow look patchy. And I even went over it one more time when I got off of camera to do my lashes, and even still, I still see certain areas that aren't completely smooth. It doesn't have the harmony that I'm looking for, and that makes me really sad, because like I said, I really like this color story. I like the concept. The person that they collaborated with seems very dope, but the eyeshadow formula is not on par with Anastasia's regular eyeshadow formula, in my opinion. The last palette that they came out with, the Rephr palette, it was again a colorful palette, and I just feel like that palette had a little bit more richness, and they were a lot more pigmented, and they blended better, they swatched better, and they weren't as dry as the eyeshadows in the Alyssa Edwards palette. So it saddens me to say that I am going to have to say skip on this palette. As per usual, if you guys want to go try it, still go out, test it. You can see for yourself, swatch it in the store. You may have a completely different experience than me, but these are my opinions, and this eyeshadow palette did not work for me. And I've tried it with the concealer, I've tried it with the primer, and it still gives me the same results. So let me know your thoughts on it down in the comment section. Have you used this palette? But if you want to support and you want to get something, like I said, you cannot go wrong with this fan. Like, hello dry makeup. Hello extraness. Sound off in the comment section, and I will check you all in my very next video. Smooches. Bye. You know, with my background, I feel like Beyonce in the Check On It video. You know, a little Pink Panther. You can look at it as long as you don't grab it. If you don't go bragging, I might let you have it. You think that I'm teasing? I said, well, you think that I'm teasing, but I ain't got no reason. I'm sure that I can please you. But first, I got